Hello dear friends, today I'll tell you, about a very, important incident of my life, something that happened during the pandemic, COVID pandemic last year. But, before that, friends, I would like to, talk to you about Vipareet Raj Yoga. Because, you can say that yes, I came out of a certain problem, a health issue actually, a serious health issue. And it was because of this Raj Yoga which I have in my chart. Now friends, so first we'll talk about Vipareet Raj Yoga. This is not my chart. This is just the chart of a native, and all the planets are not there. I have just shown the planet which is forming the Vipareet Raj Yoga. So friends, I will first talk about in brief about Vipareet Raj Yoga. So let's get started. Do subscribe to my channel. If you want consultation, the number is there in the video description. Friends, in Parashari astrology, Vipareet Raj Yoga is a very auspicious, special Raj Yoga, which is formed when the Lord of a malefic house sits in any malefic house of the chart. Now friends, in a birth chart, 3 houses, that is the 6th house, the 8th house and 12th house, they are regarded as the malefic houses or evil houses or dusthanas. Now the lord of any of these houses, if that lord, that planet sits in a malefic house, in any of the malefic houses, then this Raj Yoga, which is called Vipareet Raj Yoga, is formed in your chart. Okay, now friends, there are a few conditions also. Yes, so this Raj Yoga will become very powerful if the ascendant is in a good state. That is, the ascendant sign here you can see is Libra, and the first house is the house of the ascendant. The first house it stands also for your health, your life actually, your personality. So there should not be any affliction on the first house also. And also the ascendant lord, friends, the ascendant lord also should not be afflicted in the chart. Then the Vipareet Raj Yoga will be very powerful and it will give the native auspicious results. Yes, especially during the time of the Mahadasha or Antardasha of the planet, or even if the dasha may not run, it could be even the Pratyantar dasha, which is even a smaller dasha. Yes, according to the Vimshotri dasha system. Or even if there is no dasha of the planet, if that particular planet is on your ascendant or is on that planet is in transit also. Even in celestial transit also, if that planet is somehow influencing your ascendant sign, yes, or even your moon, then also you can definitely experience such results, we can say. And even the ascendant lord, if that planet is influencing the ascendant lord at the time of transit also, it can happen. So now friends, this yoga can be activated. Now friends, what happens is that Vipareet Raj Yoga means the word is there, Vipareet. Vipareet means some difficult circumstances here, opposite to what is normal. Yes friends, so some difficult circumstances will be created. Yes, and the native will have to face them, and after that this Raj Yoga will enable the native to come out of that adverse circumstance. Yes, so that happens. Now friends, you also have to see whether the ascendant lord, in this case the ascendant lord is Venus, because Libra is there in the first house. The ascendant lord, whether the ascendant lord is well placed in the chart. In this chart we can see that Venus is also the 8th lord. Yes, but it may be the 8th lord, but you also have to look at the, dignity in which Venus is posited, in which sign, in which zodiac sign or nakshatra Venus is placed. So Venus should not be, where Venus is placed, that also you have to see. 8th lord, 8th house is anyway the house of sex life in a way, and Venus is a planet which also represents that. Yes, so Venus is the lord of the 8th house, but yes, Venus is in which sign, in which nakshatra, that also you should see. So if more or less the ascendant is the ascendant lord, if the ascendant lord has become a little weak here, because after all the ascendant lord is also the 8th lord, so definitely the ascendant lord is a little weak, but nevertheless you should also check the dignity in which it is sitting in the chart. Yes friends, in which rashi, in which zodiac sign or nakshatra. So if more or less the ascendant lord is okay, then definitely this Raj Yoga will work, because you can see friends, in this chart a Vipareet Raj Yoga has been formed by the planet Jupiter. Jupiter is the 6th lord. In the 6th house you have the sign Pisces. So Jupiter is the 6th lord, and Jupiter is sitting in the 12th house and sitting in the sign of Virgo. Virgo is ruled by Mercury. Jupiter and Mercury, they have a neutral relation. So friends, you also have to look at the nakshatra in which Jupiter is seated. So more or less this yoga will work. Yes, it will definitely give results. This Vipareet Raj Yoga will give results to the native. Now friends, why this Raj Yoga will also work? Because friends, you should also look at the houses which Jupiter is ruling in the chart. Jupiter is ruling the 6th house. Jupiter is also ruling the 3rd house. In the 3rd house you have the Sagittarius sign. 3rd house is also considered to be a mild malefic house, a mild dusthana, because it is the house of your struggle and efforts also. Yes, a lot of that also, 3rd house also shows all your efforts. Yes, loss of energy. So that is also seen from the 3rd house. So it is a mild malefic also, because it is the house of struggle and even obstacles. So friends, that is why Jupiter is also the 3rd lord. The 3rd lord is also in the 12th house. So that is why you can say this Vipareet Raj Yoga will be good, in a way good for the native. Yes, and because it is the lord of both the houses which are malefic. 6th house is totally malefic, 3rd house is slightly malefic also. At least Jupiter is not the lord of any Kendra house, 1, 4, 7, 10. It is not the house, it is not the lord of those houses. So which is a good thing. Okay, now friends, so this is how you have to see whether Jupiter is the lord. You have to check Jupiter is the lord of which houses, and Jupiter is how Jupiter is seated in which zodiac sign and all that. And friends, also it is also sometimes believed that if Jupiter is afflicted, because Jupiter is creating this Raj Yoga, so Jupiter is sitting in the 12th house. So even if Jupiter is under some malefic influence, then it is not going to affect the Vipareet Raj Yoga. It will not affect. If Jupiter is under some malefic influence also, this Raj Yoga will not be much affected, because now Jupiter is in the 12th house. It is the lord of the 6th house. That means all the 6th house matters, all the negative things that we see from the 6th house, diseases, loans, enemies. Now Jupiter will now kind of remove all those things from your life, because Jupiter is creating this Raj Yoga. But yes, difficult circumstances will be created in your life. You will have to face some difficult circumstances, and then suddenly you will see that Jupiter, that planet particularly, will enable you to come out of those adverse circumstances. Yes, and especially some matter pertaining to the 6th house, because it is the 6th lord in the 12th house, and then Jupiter will save you because of this Vipareet Raj Yoga. Now friends, coming to my experience. So friends, what happened was that last year, that in the month of April 2020, the COVID pandemic was at its peak. I think in the month of March, a national lockdown was announced in India. Yes friends, so people were all clueless as to what is in store for them, because such a situation was almost unprecedented in history. And suddenly what happened in the month of April, I had an acute abdominal pain, and I went for online consultation, medical consultation, obviously because hospitals, it was out of the question even to step out of the house in April last year. So then the doctor advised me to go for a scan. I went for a scan, went to some radiologist. The radiologist told me that immediately I need to go for a surgery, a gynecological surgery. And it was like a bolt from the blue for me. Surgery in that situation, I mean, it was so difficult even to get an appointment with a doctor. So everybody at home, my family, everyone, they were all so worried, They were wondering how I would be able to come out of that problem. And the gynecologist, the radiologist also said that, the surgery cannot be delayed. And if otherwise, the infection might spread. So it was a terrible time, friends. And friends, I have, by God's grace, I have this Vipareet Raj Yoga in my birth chart. Even in my birth chart also, the 6th lord is in the 12th house. Yes, and friends, 6th lord is, from the 6th house, diseases are seen. Yes, and so 6th lord is in the 12th house, and in the 12th house also I have Jupiter. So friends, what happened is that, Jupiter also created the Raj Yoga even in my case. And so at that time, just the Mahadasha of Jupiter had started also for me. So it was Jupiter's Mahadasha, and Jupiter was in the 12th house of hospitalization. Yes, and I was then in April, it was impossible to get any appointment from any doctor, like face-to-face appointment. Only online I was, but online consultation was not enough, because I needed some, serious treatment like surgery. Then it was, I went to like so many hospitals, and but then there was no proper surgeon, actually, gynecological surgeon who could do that surgery, because I needed a specialist. Then somehow towards the end of May, I don't know how, but miraculously, one particular surgeon, after great, we were like searching and there was no one. Most of the doctors, they were all, attending to COVID patients. The situation was horrible at that time in that part of India where I live. They were, the cases were highest in that state, in that particular, place. So doctors were all busy with COVID patients and all. The hospitals were, flooded with COVID patients. There was no bed. So somehow I got an appointment with the doctor. The doctor also had no clue, because there was no bed in the hospital. So how they could, how would they operate me and all that. But then somehow, towards the end of May, it took place. I mean, just the very end of May, the surgery took place, and all my family members and relatives, they were all shocked. because like people were so afraid of this corona situation, and at that time when it was so risky to even step out of the house, I had to undergo such a major surgery, friends. And I would say this is just, you can say it is a miracle actually. It was divine help that I received. So friends, our birth chart, our birth chart may have certain combinations which, may miraculously help you. Your planets, they can help you miraculously. So Jupiter was forming the Vipareet Raj Yoga in my chart, and Jupiter Mahadasha had just started in April last year. So friends, I would say definitely it was Jupiter's blessing, and I don't know how it was possible for me to overcome that situation. Then the surgery was successfully done, and then it was a terrible disease actually, terrible problem, and I came out of that problem. So friends, in a way you can say that if that surgery would not have taken place at that time, because even the radiologist and even the doctor told that even that medicines will not help. I mean, it was a case of surgery. So friends, in a way I can say that my life was saved, because of Vipareet Raj Yoga in my chart. So friends, you also check whether in your chart, like any lord of malefic house, the lord of the 6th house or 8th house or 12th house, whether they are also sitting in any malefic house. Please check. Then you will know whether you have Vipareet Raj Yoga. But yes friends, Vipareet or difficult, in this case actually, difficult circumstances will be created. I mean, somehow you will have to face those circumstances, and then this Raj Yoga will work. It will help you to come out of those circumstances. So this is how, friends, Vipareet Raj Yoga can be perceived. This is my way of, looking at it. It's my perspective. So friends, that's all for today. Do subscribe to my channel and share this video. Thank you so much.